What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chud's BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made this. Beautiful, delicious, porky, fatty, crispy skin. Amazing! Crispy skin pork belly, loaded baked potato. Coming up. This is some pork belly. Pat it dry. And what I got here is a skin-on pork belly. Picked this up at my local Fiesta grocery store. And oftentimes, at least around here, it's kind of hard to find skin-on pork belly. You can get it online from like Wild Fork Foods or Meat and Bone or something like that. But also international grocery stores will often have it. There's an H Mart up north here in Austin that has it all the time. Or like I said, I just asked the butcher at Fiesta, which is a Latino American grocery store. And I got the whole belly from him, and now this is just 1/3 of it. And this one is pretty thin, which is fine, you know. It means we're gonna have a really quick cook, which is nice. And we're going for some classic crispy skin pork belly today, so really not much we need to do. If you have one of these, it can come in handy. This is a jacquard, basically a bunch of tiny little blades that'll poke a bunch of holes into the skin. So when we flip it over and the fat starts rendering, it theoretically should help this get crispier quicker. So we're gonna smack this a few times. Again, just to help this thing get crispy. And as far as seasoning goes, I'm gonna just put some on the underside. I'm gonna go on with some good old-fashioned Chud's BBQ SPG. Somehow miraculously makes everything taste better. And just do a nice light coating of that, mostly for that pepper and that garlic flavor. We're also gonna salt the skin like we always do for crispy skin pork, which is why I'm using this relatively low sodium rub. Get that all patted in there. And now it's time to fire up the pit. Chud shovel on sale now. And on the pit we go, skin side up. Flatten that out a little bit. Now we're gonna take some table salt here and just go all over the skin. I've talked about this in plenty of videos, but this is in an effort to protect the skin from the smoke so it doesn't get dark and rubbery on us, because we're aiming for crispy skin. And you could use kosher salt, but this works better in theory because it's a smaller particle size, meaning we get better coverage, but I've done it with kosher salt and it works just fine. Again, this is mostly for protection, not so much for seasoning, although obviously it will season the skin, but 90% of this will be coming off in an hour or so. But just a nice, heavy, even coverage. Beautiful. So we're gonna rock this pit at about 300 degrees for the next hour or so. Really shouldn't take long. You could pitch in some wood chunks if you wanted some smoky flavor on this, but I'm kind of aiming more for that direct heat flavor, where the fat and the drippings and everything hitting the coals, making that fat smoke, is gonna give us that kind of Carolina whole hog barbecue flavor. So, shut this down and let it do its thing. We'll check back in a little bit. All right, y'all, it's been about an hour and a half on this cook, and because it's such a thin pork belly, we're gonna take a look at it, and I'm gonna give it a flip. Definitely shrunk up a bit. Pit leveled out around 250, which is where I've been keeping it. As you can see, it's got some good smoke coming up from the fat dripping out. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this salt crust. Ooh, comes off very conveniently. And hopefully it did its job in protecting the skin and drying it out a little bit more. And we're gonna go ahead and see what the underside of this looks like. Boop. Oh yeah, beautiful color, nothing's too burnt, got that nice direct heat barbecue flavor. So now I'm gonna bump the temps up probably to about 3, maybe 350, just to get that skin cooked and nice and crispy. And now we're gonna go ahead and bust out a super quick mop sauce. So I'm going into a pot with a knob of butter, just get that melting down, and then 1/2 of one onion, and let that cook down until everything is nice and translucent. And then we're gonna go in with some garlic powder, some red chili flakes, some paprika, some apple cider vinegar, as well as some hot sauce. Keeping this one real simple today, folks. Just want a little bit of heat and a lot of acidity. And now we're just gonna bring that up to a boil, let it cook for a little bit, and our super simple mop sauce is done. And now, simply enough, grab yourself a mop, and every 10-15 minutes or so, I'm gonna come out here and just give this a mop. Help kind of soften up this underside where it's exposed to that direct heat, add some wonderful flavor. Some of this will drip off and hit the coals, creating some really flavorful steam. And it's just some classic old school direct heat barbecue, folks. Not much to it. All right, it's been about 4 hours total on this cook, and this is looking absolutely beautiful. Mop sauce is giving that some nice color. Definitely softened it up a good bit too. Feels really nice. And this pit is on its way down. It held at 300 degrees for the last few hours on this skin side. Let's see how that's looking. Yeah, I'd say that looks pretty perfect. Nice and crispy, nothing's too burnt. Only downside to using a mop sauce is that when it rolls over the edges, it kind of cooks on, so we get some of this darker color. But all in all, that is some really good looking crispy skin pork belly right there. And again, I'm gonna be pulling this as opposed to slicing it. Otherwise, I probably would have took it off a while ago because this has got to be up in the 200s by now. But probing nice and tender, got a lot of good fat render on there, and I'm just gonna let it hang out in here for a little bit, cool down and rest, because we gotta get our potatoes going. As for our taters, I got these big boys, big old Texas-sized taters. And what I'm going to do is make a water salt solution with some water and some salt. Just a nice big fat pinch in there. And whisk that up to dissolve. And then in we go. And I saw this on America's Test Kitchen a while back. And what this does is gets a nice even layer of salt water all around this. So when all the water evaporates during the cooking process, we'll be left with a nice evenly salted potato. We're doing 2 today, beautiful. And to make sure nothing explodes, I'm gonna go ahead and stab this with a fork a few times. And now, throw them on the pit. Cooking these on the pellet grill today. Got this thing fired up to about 450 degrees. And we're just gonna cook these until they come up to an internal temperature of about 200, 205, which should probably take about 45 minutes or so. Potatoes are almost done, so now it's time to take a look at this pork belly. That's had a good amount of time to cool down. And I did pop it under the broiler for like 30 seconds just to see what would happen. And it puffed up a little bit more, but definitely didn't need to do that. So now I'm just gonna remove the layer of crispy skin from the top and make ourselves some pulled pork in the meantime. Oh yeah, wow, still very hot. Get all this beautiful meat off of there. Beautiful crispy skin, looking good. Go ahead and get this all shredded up into some beautiful pulled pork. And if you ever had a whole hog, the pulled belly is definitely the best part. So rich, but because we cooked this so long and hot internally, we rendered a lot of fat out of there, which is a good thing for pork belly because it can be a bit rich. And of course, at this point, you could go add whatever sauce or extra flavor you like. For me, I'm just gonna add a little bit more of this mop sauce. Get that acidic vinegar sauce and some hot sauce in there. Makes a really good pulled pork. And that is looking like a big, beautiful pile to me. Give that a little taste test, shall we? Oh, that is so good. Unbelievably tender. Pretty quick and easy cook too. It's a good option if you're making pulled pork for a small family or just you and a friend or something. 4 hours and a decent amount of meat. Make a couple sandwiches out of that if you wanted to. And as for this skin, we're gonna chop that up. But first, one of the best bites from barbecue right there. It's so crunchy. And not overly salted. I don't understand why they use cleavers for this. Some heavy knife work. And just like that, fresh off the pit, our baked potato, or smoked potato I should say, is out. Gonna go ahead and slice that right down the middle and give it a nice fluffy plump up. Beautiful cook on that, pretty happy with it. And a little extra smoke flavor, never hurt anybody. First things first, mandatory, gotta go in with some butter. Boop, boop, and boop. Followed by a layer of some of our lovely pulled pork. Really get it in there. As much or as little as you see fit. But mostly for thumbnail reasons, I'm gonna go on with a lot. Looking good. On top of the pork, go down with some cheddar cheese. Give that a little help if you feel so inclined. Beautiful. Dollop of sour cream, as is tradition. Of course, gotta top that with some of our crispy skin crackling here, because bacon is good on a baked potato, but I think crispy pork skin might be better. I suppose you could do both, but that would be ridiculous, folks. And last but not least, a nice sprinklage of some chives. Gotta be healthy, you know. And there it is, folks, in all its glory. The pulled pork, crispy skin, loaded barbecue baked potato. Whew, I'm ready. I mean, really, what's not to like here, folks? Some beautiful crispy skin pork belly shoved lovingly into a nice plump smoked potato with all the fixins. Yeah, I'm gonna eat it now. I mean, where do you even start? Just gotta go for it, I guess. A little bit of everything, except for potato. You gotta get in there. There we go. Whoa. Oh God, that is so good. Pulled pork and cheddar cheese. Not a combination I do very often, but that is truly phenomenal. Now that we open it up, we can get a little more potato. I mean, come on, folks. Look at this thing. That is so much better than I thought it would be. Wow. The acidity of the pork with the sour cream and the butter and the potato, it's just a really good bite. Come on. I would eat this all the time. That is phenomenal. That crispy skin is so good. Not much texture with a baked potato, you know what I mean? But that helps. Perfect addition. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow, wow. When I was first looking at it, I was like, I don't know if I can eat all that, but I think I'm gonna. To be honest with you, I made this video because I haven't had a baked potato in an alarming amount of time. Probably since the last time I did a brisket loaded baked potato. And I was craving it. And some crunchy pork belly seemed like the right move, and can confirm. Very good. That's so good. So good. And honestly, when I was plating it up, I was thinking, should I put some salt in that potato? And I'm glad I didn't, because the flavors are perfectly balanced. From the salty skin and the salty pork. Truly a good bite of food. Cannot beat that crunchy skin. So good. That direct heat flavor is coming through. Really easy cook too. Gotta love that. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Ow. That's a good dinner right there. I do love these recipes where I can just do horrible things. Like, I would never mix butter and pork belly, but here we are. And here we are for the second time in recent memory where I've added sour cream to barbecue and absolutely love it. Really is a great combination. I ate the whole thing and now I'm gonna eat another one. Just kidding. It's for you. I put a little less pork in yours than mine.
Okay.
Because mine was herby, if you know what I mean.
Herby fully loaded.
Yeah.
All right, how do I eat this? Like a taco?
Yep, just one big bite. Everybody knows the rules. I have a fork around here somewhere. I'm thinking about making a playlist on the channel of every time we've used a fork. I think it would probably be 3 videos.
Yeah, I can't even think of
2 of which are baked potatoes. Oh, she's going for it.
Get a little skin because that's the nutritious part.
Got a little crunchy in there.
What's that, a crouton?
Yeah, pretty much. It's a pork ton.
It tastes porky.
I meant to spray the potatoes with sprayable duck fat, on sale now at shopchuds.com, right before I took them off the pit to crisp up the skin a little bit. But I completely forgot to do that, so...
Oopsie daisy. Dollop of daisy. It was good though.
I like a good baked potato. It's been a long time.
I haven't had one of these in so long.
I know. I don't know why. They're so easy to make.
Yeah, this is like the best poor man's food.
Get a sack of taters, feed the whole neighborhood.
It's good for you.
Not that one.
Well, there's protein, there's vitamins.
There's cheese. Good for the soul. Not good for the whole.
Some people like to mush it all together. And then some people do like what I was just doing where it's like one little bite with like everything on it all the time. I'm curious. Let me know in the comments.
So you're saying you can either open it like a book or just mush it all into a pile?
Yeah, open it like a book and then just kind of stir it up. Or just like leave it as is and kind of just carve away at it.
I think that's what I did. We'll have to review the footage. Real question is, what barbecue baked potato should we make next?
A Tex-Mex potato.
Tex-Mex potato would be good.
With queso.
Some chorizo.
Yeah.
I immediately went to cheeseburger because I was thinking like, what do you eat with potato a lot?
That would be good.
If you loaded that up with like ground beef and cheese and pickles and lettuce and whatnot.
That would definitely be a good one to have with the crispy skin for.
Oh.
Like, emulate the fries.
Let us know down below. I'm sure we'll come up with something good. And Jeremy did a great job cooking them too. That's the name
Yoder?
That's the name of my Yoder pellet smoker over there. And with this very last bite of fully loaded baked potato, I think it's time for the official taste test. Ooh. Yeah. All right, y'all, and that is it. That is how to make some absolutely fantastic crispy skin pork belly loaded baked potatoes. I highly recommend giving this one a try. You know, crispy skin belly is probably one of the best things in the barbecue world, but it can be a bit rich, so to cut it down with all that potato actually makes a lot of sense. Really quick and easy cook, and it was way tastier than I anticipated, so definitely making this one again. And I hope you do too. But all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that subscribe button. Let YouTube know by dropping a like on this video. If you do give this recipe a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I'd love to see what y'all are cooking. Big shout out to all the Patreon members. Thank you for supporting Team Chud and allowing me to keep making all these videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace!